Hello and welcome to the 9th Java tutorial in the series. Today we're going to be looking at array lists. Now in the last one we looked at arrays, which were a data structure that stores multiple amounts of variables. And now an array list it does the same thing, except it's got a bit more functionality. It's more dynamic than an array because you can add to it and take away from it on the go. And it's got a few other methods which are quite helpful as well. So firstly, to use array lists we need to import them. So import java.util.ArrayList like that. There we go. And now we need to create an array list, new one. So we do ArrayList. Then we do open, or it's like a less than symbol and a greater than symbol. And in here we put the type of variable that we want to store in the array list. So we're going to use strings, so we put string there. And then we give our array list a name. So for example, my list, I'll do that. Equals new array list. We can just open and close these. We don't need to put anything in between them. And then we do open and close curly brackets, not curly brackets, normal brackets. End it with a semicolon. So there's our array list. Now we need to populate it with string variables. So there's different ways of doing it. So firstly we'll create some strings. So if we do string my name, and we'll set that equal to Peter because that is my name. We'll create another one, string your name equals Fred. Your name can be Fred for this video. And then we want to add these to the list. So we do my list. We use one of its built-in methods, .add. And in here we can just put the variable names, so my name. And we can do it again and add in your name. And now we can add more names, but we can do it directly. So my list dot add, and then instead of putting a variable name, a reference, we just directly put in a string. So we'll put Megan here, and then we can do a similar one but slightly different. This one takes two parameters. So you put an index, so I'm going to put 3 because that will be the next index along. Remember that it goes 0, 1, 2, so the next one will be 3. And then we put another one, so let's put Chloe. Okay. Now we can print out those names to make sure that they are in the list, just to prove it. Print line. And then we go my list dot get, this is another built-in method, and then we have to put the index. So if we put 0 for the first one, and then let's just copy and paste this line another 3 times. So let's add the second one, the last one. Now that's there is a better way of doing this, but I will show you that in the next videos using loops, so you don't have to copy and paste each line, but for now we'll do that because that's what we know. So if we save and run this, you can see it prints out Peter, Fred, Megan and Chloe all on new lines. So they all have been stored inside this array list, my list. We added them in slightly different ways. You can do that. Now let's use some of the other methods that come with array lists. So for example, my list dot clear, that completely empties the list of all of its contents. So now the list should be empty. However, to prove that, let's do a little if statement. So we say if my list dot is empty, that's another method that returns true or false depending on if the list is empty or not, obviously. So if it is empty, we want to print out, we'll say the list is now empty. If we do a little else, so if it's not empty, out.println, we'll say the list is not empty. There we go. Now because I cleared it, it should go through true there, and it should print out the list is now empty. So let's look at that. So if we run it, so it prints out all the names, and then it goes the list is now empty because it was cleared. So now if I comment out this line with 2 slashes, so that's commenting. I don't know if I've spoken about that before, but normally you use comments to sort of describe like this does something or whatever. You write above code with comments so it's easier to understand and read. But what you also can do is comment out code lines, which means that they don't run. So now it won't run, it won't clear the list, and it should say the list is not empty. There we go. So there we go. We made an array list, which is basically a more functional, more dynamic type of array. We added some strings in different ways. We printed them out. We cleared the list, and then we did an if-else statement. So there we go. So that's it for now. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.